Among the mist-covered valleys and crystal lakes of ancient Ireland stands the ruined monastery of Glendalough, a place where stone churches, weathered crosses, and a towering round tower still testify to the life of one extraordinary man. His name was Kevin. Remembered as a hermit, monk, abbot, and founder, Saint Kevin became one of Ireland's most beloved saints. His life inspired generations of monks who sought God not in cities or palaces, but in forests, caves, and the quiet beauty of creation. Yet separating history from legend is not always easy. The historical Saint Kevin lived during the 6th century, but many of the stories told about him were written hundreds of years later. While these traditions reveal how deeply he was loved, they also invite us to distinguish historical memory from spiritual symbolism. Today, we explore both the history and the enduring legacy of Saint Kevin, the man whose search for God transformed a lonely valley into one of Ireland's most important monastic centers of learning. Ireland after St. Patrick. Kevin was born around AD 498, only a few generations after Christianity had taken deep root across Ireland. Although St. Patrick had preached the gospel during the 5th century, the Irish Church developed through rural monastic communities rather than urban centers. Across the island, holy men and women withdrew into wilderness places where prayer, study, and manual labor formed the rhythm of daily life. This period, often called the Golden Age of Irish monasticism, produced many of Ireland's greatest saints, including Bridget of Kildare, Columba of Iona, and Brendan the Navigator. Kevin would become one of its brightest lights. Early life. According to later tradition, Kevin was born around AD 498 into a noble family in the Kingdom of Leinster. No contemporary records survive, but the tradition reflects how early Christians remembered his origins. His Irish name, Coemgin, is usually understood to mean well-born or of noble birth. As a young boy, Kevin was entrusted to experienced Christian teachers and received a monastic education, where he learned scripture, prayer, and the disciplines of religious life. While the identities of his teachers are uncertain, later medieval traditions emphasize that his early formation prepared him for a life of deep faith and contemplation. From an early age, Kevin gained a reputation for humility, intelligence, and an extraordinary love for prayer. Rather than seeking influence or wealth, he longed for solitude. The forests and mountains called to him more strongly than the courts of kings. Although many details of Kevin's youth come from medieval biographies written centuries after his lifetime, historians generally agree that he received a solid monastic education before withdrawing to live as a hermit. The call to solitude. As a young man, Kevin withdrew into the remote valley now known as Glendalough, the Valley of the Two Lakes. Hidden among steep mountains south of present-day Dublin, the valley offered everything a hermit desired: silence, isolation, fresh water, and caves suitable for prayer. One cave overlooking the upper lake, now called St. Kevin's Bed, is traditionally believed to have been his first hermitage. Whether he actually lived there continuously cannot be proven, but the site has been associated with Kevin for well over 1,000 years. Here, he embraced a life of fasting, prayer, manual labor, and contemplation. Like the desert fathers of Egypt centuries earlier, Kevin believed that withdrawing from worldly distractions allowed the soul to hear the voice of God more clearly. The legend of the blackbird. No story captures the spirit of St. Kevin better than the famous legend of the blackbird. According to medieval tradition, Kevin once stood praying with his arms stretched out in the form of a cross. A blackbird landed upon his outstretched hand. Seeing that he remained perfectly still, the bird built a nest there. Kevin continued praying without moving until the eggs hatched and the young birds were able to fly away. There is no historical evidence that this event literally occurred. Instead, many scholars understand it as a symbolic story expressing Kevin's extraordinary patience, gentleness, and harmony with God's creation. Whether historical or not, the image has become one of the most beloved symbols of Irish Christianity. Wildlife and the Saint. Many traditions describe Kevin living peacefully among wild animals. Stories tell of an otter bringing him fish, wolves guarding his flock, and woodland creatures approaching him without fear. These accounts resemble stories told about other saints throughout Christian history. They are not meant as historical reports. They express a deeper truth. The saints sought to restore the harmony between humanity and creation, a harmony wounded by sin. For medieval Christians, Kevin's friendship with nature revealed the holiness of a man living in deep communion with the Creator. Glendalough grows. What began as the solitary dwelling of one hermit soon drew disciples. Men seeking a life of prayer came to learn from Kevin. Small wooden huts gradually gave way to a growing monastic settlement. Over time, Glendalough became one of Ireland's most influential monasteries. Although many of the stone buildings visitors see today were built centuries after Kevin's death, they stand on the foundations of the community he began. The monastery became a center of worship, education, manuscript production, and missionary activity. Students traveled from across Ireland and even beyond to study there. Kevin's search for silence unexpectedly created a community that shaped Irish Christianity for generations. Kevin as abbot. Despite his love of solitude, Kevin accepted the responsibilities of leadership. As abbot, he guided his monks not only through rules, but through example. Later traditions portray him as gentle yet disciplined, compassionate toward the poor, and unwavering in prayer. His authority rested not on power, but on holiness. This blend of contemplation and practical leadership became a hallmark of many Irish monastic founders, His final years. The details of Kevin's final years remain uncertain. According to long-standing tradition, he lived to an exceptionally old age, dying around AD 618. His feast day has been celebrated on June 3rd for centuries. After his death, pilgrims continued to travel to Glendalough, and devotion to Kevin spread throughout medieval Ireland. The monastery endured Viking raids, political upheaval, and shifting kingdoms, yet Kevin's memory remained firmly rooted in Irish Christian identity. Historical legacy. For historians, St. Kevin presents both challenges and opportunities. No writings from Kevin himself have survived. The earliest biographies were composed centuries after his death, blending historical memory with devotional storytelling. Even so, historians broadly agree on several key points. Kevin almost certainly lived during the late 5th and early 6th centuries. He embraced the life of a hermit. He founded the early monastic community at Glendalough. His reputation for holiness spread rapidly after his death. Beyond these foundations, many familiar stories belong more to Ireland's rich spiritual imagination than to verifiable history. Yet these legends should not simply be dismissed. They reveal how generations of believers understood Kevin not only as a historical figure, but as an example of a life transformed by prayer, humility, and love for God. St. Kevin reminds us that greatness is often born in hidden places. He did not seek fame. He sought silence. He did not pursue power. He pursued holiness. The valley where he once prayed became one of Ireland's great spiritual centers, proving that a single life devoted entirely to God can shape centuries of history. Whether we remember him through the historical record or through the legends that surround his name, St. Kevin continues to invite us to rediscover the value of prayer, simplicity, and reverence for God's creation. In the quiet valley of Glendalough, his witness still echoes across the centuries. Today, St. Kevin is honored as the patron of Glendalough and is remembered especially as a model of monastic prayer, solitude, and harmony with God's creation.